Now, welcome to part 2 of my Cross Season 1 recap. If you missed part 1, go over there and check it out. Now, I want to talk about the aspect of obsession, trauma, and mothers. Okay, and how all those things came together and played a pivotal role into this season of Cross. Now, we see in the beginning Maria, the mother of Cross's children, his wife, the first mom, lose her life. Okay, and the level of grief, not only that Cross is going through, but also the impact of his children and people around him. And then you got Miss Nana Mama. Okay. Now at times she pissed me off, y'all. Okay. She was doing the most. She had that mama bear in her. And sometimes I wanted her to just fall back. Okay. You're doing too much. You're getting on my nerves. Okay. But we see how her role is very pivotal because of her best friend. Okay. Now I can't remember what the best friend name was, but she was crazy, y'all. Miss Nancy. Okay. Now, Miss Nancy was there throughout the whole season. Okay. She was helping with the kids. They was having conversations. Oh, yeah, we should bring back karaoke night. We should all be a family. You know, blood is not all about family. Family and blood is what you make it, right? Right, guys? Right? Now, whenever somebody says that, make sure you look at them as a whole, okay? Because where they coming from? What you want from me? Because sometimes when people use the you can make it family whatever it is, it's out of manipulation. It's out of what you trying to get out of me, what you trying to get me into, okay? Now with Miss Nancy, okay, lots of spoilers, y'all, lots of spoilers. If you didn't watch the whole season, save this and come back, okay? Now, throughout the season, I was watching Miss Nancy, and I'm like, okay, it's good that, the mama got a best friend, somebody to hold her down. Okay, we all need that in our life, right? Just a home girl, no matter what age you are, it shows that even at an old age, I shouldn't say old, even at a seasoned age, okay, you can have a best friend, right? Right? Nah, okay? Hell no. Miss Nancy, it turns out, see, there was this guy, Peter, who had an obsession, okay? He had an obsession with Cross. And I was like, what is it with Peter? Okay, where does it really come from? And then they show us him and, I think her name was Deidre. I'm like, Peter is really doing all this for a snow bunny? Really? He really killed Cross' wife over a snow bunny? Okay, what's really going on? Okay, and then it comes out that, oh, he sneaks into the house and he attacks Nana Mama. Okay, now we hear through the credits her beating him up, struggling, not knowing if she really gonna be able to survive. Okay, and then it comes out she does. And then they're at the hospital. Okay, and Miss Nancy is like, oh, y'all need a safe house? Y'all need somewhere to stay? I'm just hearing the conversation between Elle and Cross. I got a goose cabin. I got a cabin out by Goose Lake. That can be y'all's safe house. And my little spidey sense is like, girl, why are you in their business? You want them to be away. And then I'm like, once again, you Miss Nancy's best friend, right? You just trying to help a sister out, right? You just trying to help the family out, right? And then as soon as they get there, I'm like, what you doing, girl? What's with this house? You acting a little bit too nice. And then it turns out, y'all, Miss Nancy is the mother of the killer. She was a street mama, okay? She was the one who took in Peter and was trying to take care of him and help him through a hard time, taking him to his case manager meetings. Oh, she had an agenda the whole season. And her agenda was to get close to the family to help out her son, who was obsessed with Cross. Because if I get close, then my son, who has an obsession with your son, can get in and get you and them little kids. Okay? I want revenge. Because you know what? Your son sat on that stage, on that court case, and took something from me. Okay? Now, if y'all don't really remember, let me give y'all a little bit of a history lesson. Okay? Now, Deidre was a snow bunny. Okay? And Cross went to court and testified that she was broken and did not need to be on the streets. As a cop, he contributed to her going to prison. Okay, and that's where you think it ends, right? Right? but it doesn't, okay? Now, as we're at the cabin, okay, Elle and the son realize, oh, it's something going on with this lady. Okay, and then they start playing hide and go seek. And of course, as we see in TV shows, the little boy goes into a room and stumbles across some photos. And his daddy had already warned him, if you see this photo of a man who looked like this, run, son, run. Okay? But they get there and he's playing hide and go seek. His butt hits a box, and what do you know? Miss Nancy, Deidre, and Peter all in one photo. And then he puts it together like, oh my God, this woman knows the man we're supposed to be hiding from. And then you see Miss Nancy snap. And she say, F them kids, because I want revenge, y'all. F your kids. And Cross, if you really want it, you want them kids, you gonna get up in here, right? Now, I'm gonna give you 3.5 hours to give you a little bit of time, but don't you bring no backup if you want to see your kids ever again. And then Cross tries to work his little magic, okay? And say, please don't hurt my kids. In his stern voice, you don't want to do this. And she sons him. Okay? And what did she say? Right now, to me, you ain't nothing but an F-boy. And if you want to see these kids, because I will light their asses on fire, you got about 3 hours to get up in here. And we see that manipulative mama bear, that obsessive quality, the my child can do no wrong. Okay? And she wants to take from Cross something that's been missing inside of her, a child. And her obsession, I think, is more lethal actually than Peter's. Okay? Because Peter is, he been hovering around waiting for his opportunity to jump out them bushes and say, I'm here too. I'm here too. Okay, I got my agenda. But her obsession was way more intense, way bigger than Peter's, because her obsession also was layered with guilt. Okay? Because she is the one who told the Snow Bunny to take the rap for Peter when the cops came looking for him back then when that case was first unraveling. She said, I can't let my baby boy go to jail. He's a black man. And they're going to throw the key at him. So you know what? If only we had somebody else to take the rap. You're an innocent white girl. They'll give you just a little pat on the hand, which she thought was going to happen until Cross came up and he was on that stand. She almost got away with it. And then after that, it became this obsession with getting evil, getting back at him. Okay? But you see how even the son was like, now you want to light the kids on fire, ma'am? You're doing too much. That's not what I want to do. And then she starts putting gasoline on them. Oh, it get real crazy, y'all. But sometimes when we see moms and their sons do these things, or their children, I feel like mostly I've seen this with mother-son relationships with crimes. They can't fathom that their son actually did the crime, and the unconditional love. You see that on TV. You see that when people commit crimes. Not my baby doing a drive-by. Not my baby. Okay? Not my baby murdering somebody. My baby would never. It's almost like it's unfathomable to think that the child you raised up can turn into that. And I think there's a layer of parenting where you feel so much like shame, guilt, just like, where did I go wrong as a parent that my child ended up in this situation? That if I admit that, yes, he did do this crime, he did commit these murders, what does it say about my parenting? So instead of acknowledging that, yes, my son committed this crime, these crimes, instead, I'm going to deny because I don't want to admit and take accountability. I don't know if I want to use the word accountability, but turn the reflection on myself and see that I may have in some ways contributed to my child growing up to be this killer, criminal, whatever it is. Because no parent wants to raise a child to turn out to be like that. Okay? And some people would like to blame the parents. It's always like, what are the parents doing? How could you let your child be out there in the streets at the mall, getting into fights, riding your bike at, late at night, where you hear about these things in the news of these kids doing these drive-bys, speeding, racing. What's the number one thing you see in the comments? Where were the parents? Where the parents at? How could you let your child do that? Okay, but sometimes no matter how much you raise a child up to be a good human being, sometimes they're going to turn out the way they do. I know as a parent myself, I learned early on that you can enlist, you can give them the right tools, you can lead them to water, but for the most part, they have their own minds. And with them being in school, you really aren't with them a lot. Okay, for 8 to 10 hours a day, they're at school making their own decisions. So you can try and pour into, give them the life lessons, reflect, mirror, but sometimes we have to realize that children have their own minds and they're going to make decisions, good or bad. No matter what we teach them, they're going to make their own decisions. So you see just how her own shame, guilt really was the forefront of how she showed up in this friendship, because of the friendship with Nana Mom was all about getting back at Cross. Okay, and then it turns out that she was really the reason why the Snow Bunny went to jail. Okay, because she made a decision to have that girl take the rap for her son. Okay, and the girl wasn't even her daughter. She was another person she took in, and because of her decision, 2 people lost their lives. Deidre went to jail, the Snow Bunny, and then Peter became obsessed with Cross for losing Deidre, that he lost his life too. Okay, and in the end, all of them lost their lives because Mama said, I'm just gonna set myself on fire. So Deidre was still in prison. The mama set herself on fire, and I'm sure Peter would end up in prison too. So all 3 people lost their lives based off one decision that one person made. Okay, and it just shows you how we have to learn how to separate ourselves from mothers, separate ourselves from parents, and know that as much as you want to hold on to, hover, be a helicopter parent, your child is going to have their own decision making. And there's nothing you can do about that. You can just try and hope that the things you instill in them will cause them to make good decisions. But at the end of the day, we're not in charge. But yeah, I'm so happy that Nana Mama survived. I'm happy that Elle survived. And ultimately, you see the symbolism of Elle stepping in and becoming, to me, a stepmother to the children, because so many different layers of trauma had been worked through. But at the same time, I feel like they all went through so much trauma, and those children went through so much. I think out of everybody, Shannon and the children went through a lot of pain, trauma that I hope that they can work through. But I want to know your thoughts. Would you think about the role of Black mothers in this show, the role of obsession, the role of trauma, and how so many people lost because certain people couldn't work through their core issues about themselves? And like I always say, when you don't work through your trauma, when you don't work through your pain, it will filter down into the relationships around you. In this case, it was just very traumatic and ultimately led to death. But you gotta let go. There's only so much parenting you can do before it turns into your whole life, and that's all you know about life is being a parent, and your whole identity is tied to being a parent. And I think with Miss Nancy, even though she was not biologically Peter's mom, her whole identity was only about feeding these kids on the street, taking them in, providing for them. Who was she outside of that? Nobody. And that's why when one thing happened to one child, it just consumed her. And she was out for revenge. Okay. But I want to know more from you guys. What do you think about parenting? Is there a way that you can let go and have a separate identity? Do you think that sometimes people's whole identity becomes being a parent and they don't know what to do with themselves? And can you provide so many tools for your child to ultimately make the best decisions? Or will they ultimately make a decision no matter what you teach them?